Sean.
And we're live.
Hey guys, I'm Tim Rule,
And I'm Sean Ferreira.
and we're both
Today,
still asking,
what
what
the
the fuck,
fuck,
America?
America?
So today we're going to be talking about fat shaming, school lunches, and identity politics. So we're going to have a couple things to talk about today. Sean and I have been discussing for the past couple days all the different stuff we want to talk about. So today we actually have a lot of different, like facts and interesting things that we want to talk about. So I guess we're going to start with fat shaming.
Yeah, it's a huge problem. People are often made to feel like they are, less, like, how do I want to explain? Like, people are made to feel like they're less of a human just because they have like a weight problem or something,
Right.
or people think that, oh well, if I tell this person that they're fat, maybe it's going to encourage them to lose weight. But in actuality, it actually often makes people more insecure and makes them want to, eat even more because of their insecurity, and they end up gaining even more weight. I think
Right.
as a country, we should be looking at these people not as, people with like, automatically people with a problem, but just people that, like we should be treating them like, well, I mean,
Well, people,
yeah,
just like everybody else.
like people, and like some people are perfectly fine in the bodies that they're in
Right.
if they're overweight. Like, as if it's not unhealthy, we shouldn't be shaming people for being, a little bit overweight. Like, I'm a little bit overweight. I'm technically
We all
obese.
are, man. We're
I
all a
am
little overweight.
I am technically obese according to the BMI scale. So if anybody wants to
Yeah.
fat shame someone else, they might as well fat shame me too.
Yeah. It's. I mean, the level of obesity is a crazy thing because it's like after a certain amount of percentage of body fat, that's what they consider obese, and it's such a small scale. But it is still important. Health is still very important, but the biggest thing is mental health and happiness, man. These poor children who are living with these parents who just don't know how to control food and regulate their food options. These are the kids that are really suffering from the obesity epidemic. The parents, they have the wherewithal to, shop for themselves. But these kids, man, they don't have a choice. They don't have a paycheck. They don't get to go to school or no, not go to school, but go to the store and pick out, the food that they want.
And I think another key factor, and what's really unfortunate, is that just food options these days are extremely unhealthy. The affordable,
Mm.
sorry, let me rephrase that. Affordable food options are extremely unhealthy. I mean, yeah,
Right.
there's food options out there where you can eat healthy, but it's going to cost you, you can either eat healthy or you can have a place to live.
Yeah.
And
With the economy the way it is right now, it is very much like that. Yeah.
I mean, that's a little bit of an exaggeration, kind of, but
Yeah, but I know what you mean. It's
it
it's more difficult to eat healthy for sure.
yeah. So like, like mom and dad need to feed their kids. It's really cheap just to go to McDonald's and get them each Happy Meals.
Yep, yep.
And of course, do they want the Happy Meal with an apple? No, they want the Happy Meal with freaking French fries.
Right, right. And I mean,
Like,
you go to the store and you have your apples, bananas, oranges, all your fruit and veggies and stuff. But like not that far, there's boxes of junk food, boxes of candy, for dollars. And the amount of food that you get for that much is kind of indicative of how we got to this place.
yeah.
Sugar is just so easy to process that um, it makes it the most efficient way. So I went ahead and I found some statistics that I want to talk about. Thank you, Joanna, for listening. She says fat people can be healthy too, and that's absolutely true.
Absolutely.
Um, but it's also, again, obesity is a health issue, and there are people who are suffering from other effects. Because body fat in and of itself is dangerous on certain qualities. So, like, it is important to be aware of these things. But the biggest thing, and the reason we're talking about this is the fat shaming portion of that discussion, because
Right.
we shouldn't be. I understand that you want to care for everybody and stuff like that, but like there's just a better approach. It's always
Yeah.
pointing out that they're overweight and stuff. They know they're overweight. It's not a surprise. What we need to be working on is getting these kids and adults, mental health.
It's like,
Um,
yeah.
so I just want to go over some facts that we talked about the other day.
Yeah.
The prevalence of obesity right now is 18.5% amongst children and adolescents. So that's taken from 13.7 million kids. 18.5 of them, 18.5% of them suffer from obesity. Um, Amongst 2 to 5 year olds, it's 13.9%. From 2 to 5 years old, kids are already getting diagnosed with obesity, and that's insanity, man. Um, the other interesting thing was here, 12 to 19-year-olds. This is where it really picks up. The percentage of children who suffer from obesity amongst this age group, 12 to 19, is 20.6%.
That's insane.
That's a lot of kids. That's 1 in every 5 kids,
I just
battling obesity. And again, like I said, it's not their fault. It's their parents' fault.
it's not even necessarily that. It's not even necessarily the parents' fault. It's this the society that we live in right now, where, like I said, that it's so difficult, or it's so unaffordable to have healthy food. So like, when we fat shame people and say, "Oh, look at you, you don't make good healthy life choices, you don't do this, blah blah blah, you don't exercise." Well, let's see. I mean, one, most the cheaper a lot of people in this country don't have a lot of money anymore,
Right.
and the cheapest food is unhealthy food. And then, when you get into that sort of like rhythm, it often also creates like depression. So like, it's really
Mm-hmm.
hard to boost yourself up to want to go to the gym and eat better, because now you're just kind of wallowing in your own
Yeah,
and
it's almost
I mean, I'm not saying that like every person that's overweight wallows in
yeah.
their own self pity, but for some people it very much is that way. And
No, it's a very self-inflicting problem in a lot of ways, or not. And I don't mean self-inflicting by the person. It's not self-inflicted, but like it's one issue works with the other issue, and it's just a battle, man. And like, um, when I was starting to gain weight and like was overweight and everything like that, I definitely thought a lot about how I looked, and I still do to this day. But at the same time, I was battling depression, and for me to start going to the gym and start, getting my life on track was a huge, huge effort that I could not have done if I wasn't supported by, my friends and family. And that's great for me to say, but there's a lot of people who don't have those reliable friends and family who are going to help take care of them. And so that's one of the things I want to talk about today was, with this, child obesity stuff, like, it's important that we intervene and talk to the parents of these kids and be like, look, is there anything I can do to help you or something, man? I feel like this is something that
clearly, and
parents need to be
I think
educated on.
I think we talked about this as well. It's like, I was actually no. That's sorry. That's that because this topic is very related to the other topic we're going to be talking about.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, yeah,
but,
yeah.
but I'm not actually, I don't want to go right into that just yet. So let's actually wait. Um, but I do feel like you were saying, it's like a perpetual problem that we that we only make worse by, pointing it out to these people in rude, obnoxious ways. You
Yeah,
can you can
there's
you
so many
can
better ways to do it.
if you're somebody's friend or family, and you honestly care about them, then you can be like, hey, I feel
Just
like
ask if you're
I,
okay.
I, I I feel like I feel like something's going on. I feel like, maybe is everything going on in your life? I've noticed you've gained weight recently. I've noticed, but it has to come from a place of love and
Yeah,
compassion,
it very
not
much is about the
not
intent.
not from, hey, look at you, fat ass. What are you
Yeah.
doing with yourself? Like,
Yeah, no,
that's
and
not
people are just like that, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, they really are, and it's really disgusting, because, like I mentioned earlier, it only serves to make the problem worse. And I mean, Are we still like the most obese country in the world, or did England take the crown on that one?
I can look it up while we're here. Let's see. Joanna says, "I'm missing the argument against fat shaming. I feel like you're actually giving reasons for people being fat and overweight and trying to change them rather than discuss the issues of fat shaming. Tell people that they need to lose the weight." I should actually read this to you guys. I'm missing the argument against fat shaming. I feel like you are actually giving reasons for people being fat and overweight and trying to change them rather than discuss the issues of fat shaming. This is all from Joanna. Telling people that they need to lose weight is actually fat shaming. I have to disagree. It's not a matter of shame. Uh,
If
it's
it
a matter
com-
of just, if you're comfortable and happy and you're really living your best life and you have a few extra pounds, or I don't care how obese you are, as long as you're happy and you're doing well for yourself, that's all.
right,
Um, but it's also important,
like
just I guess just be aware of these people because
if
if they're calling for help, you need to help them. You
yeah,
need to be there for them.
but you don't
You know?
know who's struggling and who's comfortable the way they are. So you have to come from a place of like love and compassion, and let them tell you, you know what, I'm perfectly fine the way I am. I don't have a problem, but thank you for your concern.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
the,
and,
but
and, and and just like anything
or
else,
the
that has to be
person
the end of it.
or the person that does have the yeah, and that's the end of it. You're just like, okay, that
Yep,
person is perfectly fine the way they are. I love them the way they are. There's nothing wrong
yep,
with them. I expressed my concern as a person that cares about them.
yep.
And that's it. And then if they are someone, who is who is struggling with something, and they don't like the way that they feel and look, then they might be like, oh wow, someone is actually, instead of just making fun of me, they're actually like, reaching out to me,
Hmm.
and I feel like a lot of people that feel that way about themselves would really appreciate that. Some people might take it the wrong way because they're so used to having people attack them,
Hmm.
and that's the worst part. So even when we try to like, you know, um, even when we try to help, we're gonna be perceived as attacking because that's what a lot of these people feel every day, is just being attacked. So even just
Yeah,
mentioning the fact that they're a little overweight, they're gonna feel like, oh, you're attacking me. So we have to really like bring that stigma down of like, and not have people, the less we shame people, the more we can actually help people that want to be helped, that are too afraid to admit like, hey, I need some help.
right. Joanna also says it's no one's business to tell them. It is between them and their doctor. And to a point, I have to agree, but I strongly disagree that leaving someone to wait and talk to their doctor on their own time is very bad. I mean, just in general, that's just bad practice. If someone, breaks a bone, you don't be like, oh, you know what? It's between you and your doctor. No, you get them to the hospital. Your friend's hurt. You gotta take care of them.
I'm not,
Um,
and we're not saying that
yeah,
that
obviously, obesity isn't the same as a broken leg.
they
It's not.
we're
It's
not
not like
saying
that.
that everybody should go up to every single person. We're talking
Right.
about people that are
Close.
close to you,
Yeah.
your family, your friends, people that are going to realize that you're coming from a
Yeah.
from a good place. You're not We're not advocating that anybody go out there and just walk up to somebody and say, "Hey, I think you've got a problem. Do you or
Yeah.
do
No,
you not?"
that's
Like,
obviously the opposite of what any of us want, for
yeah,
sure.
no, we don't want that at all. We're talking about people, just being open and honest with the people that they love and care about, and seeing if there's a problem. If there's not a problem, if they're comfortable with who they are, then it's a non-issue. But if they are uncomfortable, and maybe there's a way you can help. It's I mean, I don't see why people are coming at this in a negative way. If I had,
Hi, Rand.
if I was showing obvious signs of like depression, and somebody came up to me and said, "Hey, dude, are you all right?" And I
Mhm.
and I was not, and I wasn't letting that be known too well, but somebody just picked up on it and noticed it, and had the had it in them to just talk, to just
Right.
ask me about it and care, I wouldn't be upset with them at all. And
I mean,
if there was nothing wrong with me, if they were mistaken, I would be like, nah, I'm not depressed. I'm not upset. I don't know what you thought, but thank you for your concern.
Right, and this is again coming from Joanna, who says, as a former very obese woman, I respectfully disagree. I didn't need anyone to ask, or I didn't need someone to ask me about my weight. That adds to the stigma, um, and that's a good point. And I definitely want to hear from other people in the comments. Have you personally been fat shamed? You don't have to tell me. This is something only if you guys want to talk about. I'm encouraging a discussion about it. And if you have suffered from fat shaming, like, did any of your friends or close relatives really try to help you, or did you feel like you were being attacked? When I was a little overweight, my friends and family were usually pretty supportive, and were helping me try to get to lose weight, but it was never a shaming thing.
Yeah, this is coming from two people who used to be like more like we're both technically overweight right now, but we both used to be more overweight than we are. Like I used to have like quite a chubby face
Me too.
only like last year, and then I actually started taking notice of what I was doing, and I still don't eat well. I still don't exercise at all, but I eat less, and I'm just a little more conscious of things.
It's all being said.
So like this isn't coming from somebody who's never had this problem. This is coming from two people who have had problems with this, self-conscious problems with it, and we're just trying to reach out and say those people that are similar to us in the sense that they are self-conscious about it, because not everybody is. Other people are like, you know what, I'm a little overweight and I love it. I love the way I look, and you know what, more power,
Yeah, dude. Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly.
More power
If
to
you're
you,
happy,
more power
hell
to
yeah.
you. But
Hell yeah.
those that aren't unhappy, like, hey, like, let us know, because there's loving people out here who want to help you
That's a great way to put it.
and want to encourage you to be the way that you actually want to be. If you want,
Yeah, exactly. I'm just here to help.
you know what I mean? We're not trying to make anybody feel bad about the way that they feel.
Yeah,
We're
I love all you guys regardless.
we're only trying to reach out to the people that already feel bad about the way that they look and feel.
Yeah, and anybody that wants help, like,
And anybody
help
that
is out
wants
there,
help. If you don't want help, then okay, great.
Yeah, exactly.
We have no problem with that.
Yeah.
You go live your best life.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think that your brain is who you are as a person, right? I think the brain makes the person. It's the mind, right? The psyche. So if you're overweight and you're happy, that's all that matters to me, is that you're happy and you're comfortable. So I never want to say anything that would shame or hurt anyone, because that's not where I'm coming from. I'm coming from a genuine place of I just want you to be happy and live a good life. Life's short. Make the best of it. Whatever that means to you, do it. Go for it.
Absolutely.
But I do want to start talking too about our second topic,
Yep.
which was school lunches, which honestly, very hand-in-hand situations. Sean, you want to tell me the story that you were telling me the other day about that kid with school lunches?
Oh yeah. Well, there was two stories actually. There was one story where a middle schooler, or it was either, I think it was like it was a 9-year-old child. So that's what elementary school still.
I remember you saying that. Yeah.
He could he ended up paying off like the debt of all of his, like, of everybody else in his grade that owed money. And people were like, yeah, that kid is awesome. Like, what he did was so cool. Like,
Yeah.
Kudos to him. And it is great. That is that was a very selfless thing for that
Yeah.
child to do. He's going to grow up to be a great human being if he continues on that path. But
I agree.
it should not be necessary.
Yeah. Totally agree.
Him having done that should have never, ever been necessary. Those kids should have never been in that situation in the first place. I firmly believe that elementary schools and middle school students should have a free lunch all the time. Like,
I totally agree.
they're literally I mean, unless their parents pack them a lunch should be free at school.
As an option, yeah, for sure.
As an option. Like, no one should have to. We have so much money in this country. And Tim and I were looking at, like, the budget of
And
the United States budget.
Yeah, we'll talk about that stuff on another episode for sure. But
Well, yeah, I know. I don't want to go deep into that. I just wanted to say,
yeah.
like, we have so much money that we spend on other things that like we could easily take like a sliver of the money that we spend on other things. It wouldn't really affect those things at all, and we could put that toward, having healthy meals in every school in the country, and
Yep.
it wouldn't really be that it really wouldn't be that expensive, compared to what the amount of money that's spent every year. If we can't take a fraction of trillions of dollars and put it
Yep.
towards kids getting food, then what can we do?
Yeah, and I think that's going to be something we talk about a lot on this podcast. Is how important it is to give our children the best experience that they can have, and really set them up for success, because they are our future. By setting them up with bad eating habits, with not socializing in school, not getting enough activity at school, not getting enough education at school, like things that school is supposed to be. If we stop giving that to them, it's only making our future darker. So that really
Like
needs to be a focus of making kids happy, healthy, and just strong kids.
like picture this. You're a kid in third grade. You're sitting in the cafeteria. Everybody around you is eating lunch, and you're the only one sitting there because your parents, they both work, but they only make enough money to to pay the bills and have enough food in the house to have, like, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Well, not, I mean,
Yeah,
or breakfast and dinner. They don't really have extra to give you, like, food every day, and then you go to school, and you also don't qualify for, a free lunch. So you're the only one sitting in the cafeteria not eating while everybody else is enjoying their lunch. Like, if that happening, like, on a regular basis for however many students that happens for, that it's just not a very good, school experience. They're gonna look around and just be like, like, what am I doing wrong that, like, I don't get to eat? All these other kids are eating, and they're happy, and they're all laughing, and I'm sitting here, like, starving.
yeah. So I want to ask the audience, like, when you guys were in school, did you ever get denied a lunch? Were you able to take out school loans for lunch? How did yours work? Because at least when I was in school, I remember days where I would, whether it was on me or whatever, I just didn't have a lunch, and I would go and I'd, say I need this lunch, and then they'd be like, sure, here you go. You need to pay us back, by the end of the week, and then before the end of the week, I needed a second lunch for whatever reason. Again, this is a long time ago. But they wouldn't give me the second lunch because I already owed them lunch money from the last time. Which, principally speaking, I understand if you owe money, you shouldn't keep getting stuff for free. Like, logically, that makes sense. But also, we should be giving these kids lunch because they're in school. Like,
Right.
they have to be in school. You know what I mean? Some parents can't afford to send their kids to school with food, every day. And so, those same parents probably can't afford school lunch every day. So why are we punishing these kids without,
I
with any real reason,
I read a
I just want to go ahead.
No, so I was just gonna say I read another article recently about this, and it was
We'll get to the
another
comments in a second.
it was another elementary school student
Mhm.
who um he owed $9. He was like $9 in debt
Mhm.
for the school lunch. Just kind of similar situation to you. And so he had gotten in line, grabbed some cheesy breadsticks that they had that day, and when he got to the counter to pay, the woman that checks the kids out, like, took it away
Mhm.
from him. She was like, "Nope, sorry, you owe money. You can't have this today."
That's crazy.
I think they replaced it with something, like, a lot cheaper, like, but still,
Even the breadsticks, I'd be surprised to find out what that is.
yeah, like, what's cheaper than cheese and bread?
Yeah. So I want to read the comments real quick. Let's see. Alyssa says, I work in an elementary school. It's heartbreaking how many children. So she says how many children go without food. So Alyssa, if you can enlighten us some more about like how often that happens, That's just crazy. Like
Yeah, that's
I could
exactly what
never
I'm
ever tell
talking
a kid like,
about.
no, you can't eat.
That's
You
exactly
know?
what I'm talking about. Thank you, Joanna. She says now they put it on the kid's account, and if it is negative, they can only eat a cheese sandwich. And that's exactly what they gave this kid. They gave him like a slice of bread, or like two slices of bread and a piece of cheese, versus the like cheesy. I mean, I guess when you think cheesy breadsticks and a cheese sandwich,
Yeah,
they're very similar. But
conceptually, yeah.
I would choose, yeah, conceptually, but I would choose cheesy breadsticks over a cheese sandwich any day.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
it's like
at least they're giving the kids something, but like a cheese sandwich is not nutritious. Neither is breadsticks. So I mean, I get not giving the kid breadsticks, but the kids should get like chicken or
if
corn or whatever is on the menu.
honestly,
Diet Coke.
I just don't understand how schools don't have enough funding that kids can just walk into the lunchroom and nobody
Dude,
and nobody has to pay. Like there's
dude, like I said, we'll talk about more about the budgets in another episode because we did a lot of research
yeah,
about
yeah, yeah.
budgets and stuff, and we definitely want to hold on to all that stuff. We're probably going to talk about that next week, Sean.
Wow, yep. Look,
Okay.
yeah, we'll talk about that. Well, maybe next week or another time. Just continuing with what Joanna just said. She says they will even throw away a hot lunch
I
on a
remember that.
kid and give them the cheaper meal. So
Yeah, I remember that.
instead of just letting them have the meal that you just threw away, you then throw that away and then give them another meal on top of it. Why not just let them have the other meal for free that you just threw away? Because it didn't, like, now you're wasting even more money because you're throwing that meal away because you can't put it back on the shelf. The kid already touched it, so just let him eat it.
Yeah, it's crazy. People are so stuck up on like the monetary value of things, and like money matters more than anything else. And it's thinking like that just drives me crazy, man. Like I get that money kind of runs the world, but these are kids. Kids don't really have much of a concept of money. Holding them accountable for stuff like that is just crazy.
Yeah.
Alyssa says, when I was in school, it was 2 packs of crackers and milk. So I imagine you mean like that was your free meal, was 2 crackers and milk. Um, and she says, well, I mean, that's an honest question. I feel like
that's
if that's
disgusting.
what the school.
I'm not laughing out of humor. I'm laughing
Oh, yeah.
out of nervousness. I just want to tell the audience, like, I'm not laughing because I actually think that's funny. I have this
Yeah.
thing where I laugh when I'm nervous, and that literally made me just like, it just made me like shake a little bit.
Yeah, can you imagine, like, I don't know, man, being a kid and being told all you can get is 2 packs of crackers and a milk? I'd be like, thanks, I hate my life. You know what I mean? Like, that's so terrible. And then she says, but I see it at least once a week. Okay, so she says at least once a week, kids are being told that they don't get food. Though my school does have a sharing bin where kids can grab food they want or need for free that another kid has paid for.
So
Which is great, but that's
No.
that's socialism. That's like the cornerstone of socialism. So I mean, if we want to go into socialist schools, let's do it. But
no. I think it's honestly sad that bin is filled with food that other kids have paid
yes,
for.
that's where I was going with
That bin should
Um,
be like, if you're gonna have a bin of free food for kids who can't afford lunch, it should just be that, again, that should be covered by the school's
Here-
budget.
Sean, I'm going to drop some good stuff on you. There's an issue with the country right now, and I guess it's really all over the world, where we punish people, and then people who kind of retaliate against these things are held in a sort of good person light. So, like, for example, healthcare, right? Mom and dad get sick, something happens and it costs the family tons of money. Nobody can raise enough money. The kids start a fundraiser. Okay, I need to pay for my parents' or my mom's surgery, whatever it is, right? These kids are heralded as heroes, great kids. So I love this kid. He's doing the great thing. He is doing a great thing, but he shouldn't have to be. We should just be able to, take care of each other and go get the health care that we need. It's the same thing with school lunches. Yeah, it's great that this kid, bought lunch for everybody, and it's great that kids are, creating these sharing bins and stuff like that, and helping each other out. But they shouldn't have to. That's the whole point. These kids, I'm sure they're great hearts, and I'm sure that everything they're doing is good. But to leave it up to kids to feed each other, that's just crazy. You know?
Yeah, I mean that's like, the blind leading the blind. Like,
Okay. So Alyssa clarified a little bit. She said it's so food doesn't get wasted. So I guess what she's explaining is that kids will buy lunch, and then if they don't finish like a burger, then they'll leave the burger on a tray, or maybe I'm not sure. That's what I'm understanding. Although she says prepackaged carrots or apples, so maybe they have a thing that's like only packages that haven't been opened. I imagine. I mean, health code wise, that's probably the only way they can make that happen. But man, that's really interesting. Sad, but interesting.
you got it.
So we can talk about the next thing too, which was identity politics, which we talked about a little bit before. But after doing a little bit of research, I kind of have a better understanding of identity politics and what it really means.
Yeah.
I honestly originally had an understanding of identity politics that was it's literally the politics of our identity. So I thought that was LGBT. I thought that was gay rights and all that stuff like that. But it's not, apparently. Apparently, identity politics is like grouping political norms with like geographical locations, religion, and stuff like that, and making assumptions on these people based on their identity.
Absolutely. And
not what they actually politically believed.
And I was just going to say, I feel like that's one of the biggest problems in this country right now is people are it's when people say like, oh, America is so divided. And that's exactly why it's divided, is because we're focusing on, well, I'm a Democrat, I'm a liberal Democrat, or I'm a conservative Republican. And if you're, somebody who's the opposite of that, if, you're automatically against me. If if you support this cause, you must automatically align with everything else that a lot of people that support that cause, believe in.
Yeah.
So like, you support, like, what's a really good example?
Well, it has to be fair on both sides, because even my very close friends and family are like, oh, he's a Trump supporter, he's probably terrible. Like, I really try not to be in that mentality, because that person probably, at least to me, supports Trump because they don't understand what's really going on. Their perception of things is going to be different, so it's crazy to assume that just because they support Trump, that they're also racist, or that they're also bad people. Like,
yeah, absolutely. That's a perfect example.
We talk about this all the time, but just talking to each other and bypassing those like almost social regulations is the only way that we're going to actually be able to reach an understanding with each other, and maybe one day elect a president that works for everybody. I think that would be ideal, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, let's maybe when we elect crap, I was trying to come up with something witty.
It's okay. We all swing and a miss sometimes,
We should all hail Cthulhu. Cthulhu 2020.
Okay. Yeah.
He will devour your soul. All right, no.
I mean, I do want to talk to you about Cthulhu and stuff like that, because not right now, but like on another time off the podcast.
We could actually talk about a lot about H.P. Lovecraft and not mention Cthulhu at all, but that's a whole other topic.
True. Definitely a topic for a totally different podcast. But anyways, so let me check the comments, see if anyone said anything, because I do want to talk a little bit more about identity politics and particularly fat shaming and stuff. But let's see what everybody else has been saying.
Yeah, I mean, what Joanna just said again is she says my son was burning through the money on his lunch account, and I was mad, and I was like, why are you buying 2 lunches a day? He was feeding his friend.
Oh,
He was literally buying his friend a lunch every day, and like, why? Because that kid had no other option to get a lunch. There was no other option other than, and so his friend, her son, had to be like, you know what, dude, I got you. I'll buy you a lunch. And it's honestly like I feel like identity politics is honestly one of the things that I feel like is affecting this issue as well, because we're so, and if it's the reason why we have so many unresolved issues is because we constantly just focus on, what people affiliate with, associate with, and just disagreeing with them based on that, instead of being like, okay, so what are the real problems? Okay, kids aren't having, aren't
kids
getting,
aren't happy. Kids aren't healthy.
kids aren't happy, kids aren't healthy, they're not getting lunch at school. Everybody, whether you're black, white, Asian, liberal, conservative, Republican, Democrat, whatever, can agree that kids deserve food. Unless you're like,
Absolutely.
unless you're just like a really hateful person who just hates kids and wants them all to die.
Dude, I
Like,
mean, you say that in jest, but like people genuinely believe that like if you don't have money to support, let's say your children, then you probably shouldn't have children. People, and which again is another topic for another time, but like the children are already here. They need help.
yeah,
There is no take backsies with children. You know what I mean? That you can't undo that. So
yeah,
the kids that are born, we need to take care of them as best we can, man.
yeah. And to relate, it's just, I just feel like we
But
need
Joanna,
to.
thank you so much for sharing that story with us because that was a very good story.
Yeah, honestly, your contributions for this entire discussion have been awesome. Thank you, Joanna.
Yeah, thank
Um,
you, and Alyssa too. I appreciate you
and
guys.
Alyssa as well. Yeah, your contribution was great as well. So I didn't mean to like leave
Also,
you
shout
out.
out to Alyssa for being the new artist for WTFA.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Alyssa. Your painting is amazing, and I cannot wait to see what you're gonna do with the lettering, the word stuff that I put together.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, I
honestly
can't
really
wait to
looking
release the
forward to
shirt,
that.
man.
If you
I'm gonna
guys,
rock that shirt all the time.
we're gonna be having shirts soon. Um,
Yep.
did we decide how much we're gonna sell them for a piece?
I think 15 is gonna be reasonable, but I don't want to
Yeah.
talk too much about merch right now. We'll do that on
Yeah,
like
no, no, no. I know.
stuff.
I just kind of wanted to like
Uh,
put that out there so people are
but
wondering.
just so the people watching know, we're only planning on getting about like 100 of them tops, just because we're still starting out pretty small. But I definitely can't wait to see them come in and put one on. And like I said, man, I'm gonna rock that shirt all the time because it looks so good.
And
Um,
so yes, be on the lookout for those shirts. But to get back to the topic here, I really feel like just about every topic we're gonna talk about can be what's stopping us from solving it is almost always related to this issue of identity politics. We're not focusing on the issues anymore.
yeah, we're not listening and stuff. Yeah.
We're not listening. We're not paying attention to what matters. We're just saying, "Oh, you have a different view than me. You must be
Oh
wrong.
yeah, that's the word.
Everything that you believe is wrong." And then because you could get somebody, and I've seen this so many times on Facebook.
Mhm.
You could have somebody say the exact same thing, but it comes from somebody that believes, has similar viewpoints to them,
Yep.
and all of a sudden you just said something completely true. But because somebody else who is like on the polar opposite of the political spectrum expressed the same idea, that person will shut it down just because that person is not on the same wavelength as them, like politically. Even though they
Yeah.
both care about the same issue and they have the same concerns, they will reject each other simply because they're on different sides of the political
Yep.
spectrum, and that is
Yeah.
disgusting.
Yeah. It's a very psychological thing that people will look at people who are different and A, assume that they have different beliefs and politics, but B, also just completely like ostracize them. And my family, myself, I'm guilty of it stopping talking to people because they believed in a certain thing or they supported a certain thing. And this is before I really started pushing towards understanding people and talking to people and stuff. Um, but I definitely lost, friends and family because I just didn't understand their beliefs. And I'm very thankful that I've reconnected with a lot of my friends and family after going through all those politics and stuff. Um, Shout out to Matthew and Allison, who I recently re-added back on Facebook and stuff. They're my cousins, but we just didn't get along for a while because of politics. And I kind of just was like, you know what, I'm done. And it was kind of a stupid thing to do because these are my cousins. We love each other, and just because we don't see an eye on everything doesn't mean that a, their views are bad, and b, their views come from any place other than within. So just being able to talk to them and hang out with them and see, that just because they have these beliefs that they're not so different. Um,
Honestly, if I were to get rid of every person on my Facebook that had like a, that, and just narrow it down to the people that are, on the same wavelength as me, like politically and socially, I'd have barely any friends on Facebook.
yeah, yeah,
I purposely add people and that have like radically different views than me sometimes, and usually they're just perfectly good people just like me, but their views on certain topics are completely different.
right.
And that's why I have them on my Facebook, because I want
Yeah,
them to comment on something and
give you a different perspective.
and maybe when I post something and I feel really passionate about it, they might come along and say, "Yeah, man, but you got to look at it this way." And then I'm like, "Whoa, did you just change my whole perspective?" And I was like a pig-headed, person who didn't even who wouldn't have even considered that, but because you took the time to break it down and just be calm about it and say, "Man, you got to look at it this way." Those people
Yeah,
have
we got to stop getting angry with each other.
those people have literally changed the way that I interact on Facebook, and
For sure.
I've started to ignore the people that just want to come up and be like and just attack. Like I've got a few people on my Facebook that are still like that, and I just try not to interact with them, or I try to interact like calmly with them, and if I feel like it's getting too much, I just back off
Yeah, I mean,
because it's not worth it to divide ourselves on our identity.
yeah, totally agree.
We
Um,
appreciate you too, Alyssa.
I don't think mine's updating for some reason.
Oh well, I don't
There
know.
we go. I do appreciate you, Alyssa. I really, really do. I really can't tell you enough how forward, how what's the word? How I'm looking forward to working with you and designing more stuff and really
How much?
uh,
I think the word you were looking for is
just get fun.
anticipate.
No, I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm just excited and looking forward to working with you. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know how else to say that.
Yeah.
Um, but man, I'm just excited to you know get the show going and get more and more people involved and start building a team and being able to go around and really do some good stuff because I that's what I want to do.
Yeah. That's a perfect example, Red. This kid and I, like, I'm not his real uncle. It's just that I'm really good friends with his father, so he sees me as like an uncle figure. But and I see him as a nephew as well. But
Mhm.
anyway, so I've honestly, like, just by, instead of like telling him like, "Nah, dude, your views are crap on that. You gotta, like, change the way you think, man. That's bad." Instead of attacking him when he has like a bad view, I just tell him calmly. I'm like, "Dude, you really got to think about that differently. Like, are you even considering this and this?" And then he's like, "Wow, yeah, like I get, like,
Yeah.
okay, I get that now." And I've told him so many times, I wish I had somebody like me
Yep.
when I was his age telling me these things, like a friend. Like, I had family who supported me, but I never really had like those friends, an older friend who was really trying to, like, help me, create better behavior and everything. So I honestly feel like I always knew what was right, but I used to fall into bad habits just because, you know, it wasn't immediately obvious that that was a bad behavior at the time.
Hmm.
And so the more that we can teach, not teach, because you can't, because some things you can't be taught. You just have to show and demonstrate, and the people that want will pick up on it. So the more that we can show and demonstrate to people, what it looks like to have like peaceful conversation and just to be understanding without necessarily agreeing with each other. You don't have to
Right.
agree, but it is imperative that we create an understanding.
Yeah.
And that's what Red and I have a lot, is an understanding. We don't always agree when he, but we definitely have an understanding often, and and I honestly think it's a special thing that him and I have between each other, because not a lot of people have a person like that where they can create an understanding and develop their thought process, beyond their initial knee jerk reaction.
So I know this isn't really too involved with what we said we were going to talk about, but I still want to go ahead and say this, that um, it's so important to talk to people as much as it is to listen. When I was going through a lot of stuff, I made a lot of new friends, and um, these friends taught me to listen and really be patient with each other and like just support each other. So when I was going through my stuff and I was talking to these people and explaining what's going on, they were just very supportive, and like all they had to do was be an ear, and encourage me to talk and like encourage me to let it all out. One of my friends, Jesse, I remember me and him hanging out at the hot tub, and I was just like, look, man, I'm really effed up. I don't know what I'm doing. And then he was just like, come here, bro, come here. You know what I mean? And like, give me a hug, and we just talked it out. And he's like, tell me all about it. Tell me everything, And I've been learning from Jesse a little bit too, about how to, really be because Jesse's such a good guy. He's such a supportive person. I really want to have him on the show in the future. And he's the person I told you that wants to be on the show.
Okay.
Just a good guy that really listens to you and is there for you. And like, meeting him was a big indicator for me that I was on the right track, and that that being that kind of person is what I want to do.
By the way, while we're at a peak of viewers right now, I just want to mention that anybody that feels like they feel very strongly about a topic, and but you have to have a middle of the line like view on it. You can't have a very extremist view.
It's okay to have extreme views, but
well,
as long as they're founded.
yeah, as long as they're founded and you're not oppressing anybody with your view. That's
Right.
that's what I really should have said. You're absolutely right. You can have an extreme view on something as long as you're not oppressing others, and there's a reason why you have that. A valid reason why you have that view.
And it's not something that you just came up with because someone told you.
We want you on the show. We want to invite people like that on the show and talk about those topics. So like, send us a message, be like, hey, I would love to be on the show at some point. And,
Whatever you're passionate about.
And talk about this. We may not have you on right away. Because it all depends on when we're going to talk about those topics, and we have certain topics that we want to talk about, for the first few episodes. But eventually, we're going to be like, okay, so this person wanted to talk about that. Oh yeah, let's talk about this week, and that person wanted to be on. They wanted to talk about that. Let's see if they're good this week, and we absolutely want to start having guests on here.
Let's set it up. I would love to make that happen.
So no matter who you are, what side of the political spectrum you're on, if you disagreed with everything that we said, or agreed with everything, or only agreed with some of it, let us know. And
tell us what you think.
and if you want to be on a future episode, we're going to be doing this for
every week as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, until we no longer have to ask what the fuck, America.
Yeah, exactly.
Which could be years. We
can stop asking what the fuck, America. Hopefully,
we'll be old and gray, and we'll be like, and we're still asking what the fuck. No, I'm just kidding. I hope that's not it. I hope that, and I do believe. I don't just hope. I actually firmly believe that we can make great change.
Yeah.
Very soon. if
Me
more
too, man.
people actually started embracing this, like, this message that we're trying to promote:
Yeah, yeah.
communication,
Can we talk about two and a half
compassion,
thousand views on the last
understanding,
video?
love, unity, honesty. I know I'm just reading the words off of the shirt, but that's literally what we stand for.
Yeah, dude, we had 2,500 views in the last video. Um, so thank you guys all for, if you're, I don't know if you're telling your friends or if you're sharing it or what's going on. But I really appreciate all the views and support. I genuinely appreciate everything you guys have been doing, because it's telling me and Sean that, what we're doing is the right thing to do, and that, change is possible. So we're very, very excited. Every week when we meet throughout the week and we talk about the podcast and stuff. We're constantly trying to find ways to make things a more pleasurable experience for you guys.
Yeah.
Including like stream transitions, better content, better information, all this kind of stuff.
Doing research,
Yeah. So
like days ahead of time.
It's so worth it. Yeah, man, I'm just very, very flattered and honored that you guys have been so supportive. So
Yeah,
seriously, from my heart, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it may seem like this is all off the cuff, which most of it is, but we actually put a lot of work into this throughout the week, like deciding, okay, what's a really good topic to talk about this week.
In the morning, constantly.
Yeah,
Constantly talking way late. Ugh.
We'll be up till like I mean, for me it's like 2:00 in the morning. Yeah. For him it's like 11:00 at night, and and I'm like, dude, I gotta go to work tomorrow. Okay, we'll continue again tomorrow, and that's like every night.
Yeah, it's and the progress really shows for it. So, and we could not do any of it without you guys. So, like I said, we really want to spread the love, spread the wealth. The more successful we are, the more stuff we get to do with and for you guys.
Yeah. Honestly, like I'm not just trying to like push these t-shirts for the sake of pushing the t-shirts, but the more of these t-shirts that we can sell. At some point, once we get them, the more that we're going to be able to do for you guys. And we honestly, like, eventually, one day, we would like to, make our living from doing this. But we wouldn't, our salary would be a very small portion. We really, and we've both agreed to this. This is something that we both said is important to us, is that a huge chunk of the money that this show makes, like is going to go right back into making it a better show, donating to charity, hosting.
I was thinking before.
Hosting like events and stuff.
I was thinking before that would be a good idea to, with every episode, we're talking about really sensitive subjects that, there are a lot of advocacy groups for these subjects. And so when we start earning revenue for our podcast and the work that we do, I really want to make a donation to the things that we talk about. I think that would be a great way to, A, bring attention to those things, and B, support them ourselves, and as a community. Sean honestly, and I don't want to make tons of money off of this. We really just want to, make changes.
I've got other ideas for stuff I want to do on the internet to make to make a living off of. I do want to make a living off of creating content for the internet, but this podcast is what we would only make very little money off of for ourselves.
Yeah, this podcast is strictly a passion project.
Just enough to make it, so that we can actually so that it actually makes sense to keep making it, and that we're not just because eventually, you have to have some sort of money. You know what I mean? Right. You have to be able to pay your bills. So as long as we have enough to be able to do that and live comfortably, whatever other money is made is going to go straight into, helping other people. And then like I have other ideas. Like I'm starting German lessons. We have other ideas for.
Yeah, definitely.
We actually sneak preview. We have an idea to make like an entire channel on YouTube. Don't expect it to come out anytime soon. That's why I'm saying this is like a sneak preview. But we would like to have like where this What the Fuck America is like one series on the channel, and we have maybe like 2 or 3 other series, or like maybe it's something that we do together, or maybe it's just like this is. My German lessons would be posted on there, and I've thought of having like a dream interpretation series. So those are those or whatever. Like none of these ideas are set in stone.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
you know, and those are the ones that we would actually be like, you know, focusing on making our actual living off of. And like I said, just about all the money that goes toward What the Fuck America is literally going to go right back into making this a huger impact.
yeah. The show and charity. Those are gonna be the two biggest things that we put the money towards. But um, anyways, I think that covers everything we want to talk about. We talked about the shirt that's coming out. We talked about the three things we want to talk about today: child obesity, identity politics, and school lunches. And as Sean was saying before, if you guys disagree with anything we were saying, or if you have something you want to talk about in the future, please let us know. Drop a comment. Let us know what you're thinking so we can prepare for it and organize some sort of discussion. Because we'd love to have you on the show. We'd love to hear your opinion and share your opinion with the world. So
please share this live feed on your Facebook page. Let your friends see it.
yeah, every little bit helps, guys.
Like, you know, it only takes 5 seconds to share. And it really helps us because the bigger audience that we have each week, the more we're going to be able to do things in the future because the more that we'll be able to get sponsors that are gonna send in money every month.
That's something we're working on right now too.
We'll be able, like we have an idea to have stickers, T-shirts. And again, this is not for us. This is for the show. Mm-hmm. and to create a larger impact. So don't look at it as, you know, giving money to Sean and Tim. You're literally giving money.
I appreciate it.
although you know but you're literally giving money to America because that's where you know, I mean, and like we're, you know, like some of it's going towards this show to like maybe have like better equipment and stuff like that.
Right.
And we'll be completely honest about that. Yes, some of the money we make will go towards like, you know, buying equipment, but that's only to make a better viewing experience for you all.
Yeah.
And to be able to have, you know, and the better viewing experience we have, the more likely, you know, bigger names like YouTube personalities or just, you know, like big social activists or even celebrities might want to come on our show because they'll be like, oh wow, you guys look super professional, you've been doing this for a few months already, you know, like and we could even get like guest spots of like big names, and that would be huge.
Big names or not, I just want people to come on and share their piece.
It doesn't have to be big names, but every once in a while, I would love to be like, hey, today we've got, you know, I'm gonna say it because I really want him on the show, Corey Taylor.
yeah, okay. One day, Corey Taylor, for those of you who don't know, is the lead singer from Slipknot. So Slipknot, if you happen to go watching,
but they're also, see, honestly, and this is gonna sound weird, a lot of like how I feel today, and like and the unity that I feel with all of humanity, came from being a Slipknot fan.
Yeah, because we can talk about that in another episode for sure.
Because that's the kind of message they promote at their concerts. They promote everybody here is family.
A good music episode where we talk about bands and their influence and like, you know, the messages that they get across. I think that'd be a cool episode.
So let's not talk too much about that now. But cool. But honestly, like those are the things we're trying to do. So you know,
help us out.
Help us out. Let us, you know, and it doesn't have to be monetarily. Helping us out is also coming on the show and being a guest.
Give us ideas
sharing it with your friends.
Totally free and a huge help.
And or just giving, or, you know, encouraging your friends to give our page a like, or when somebody you know, if you end up having a conversation with somebody out in the real world about stuff like this, just be like, hey, you know, I've been watching this new podcast called WTFA, What the Fuck America, and they had a really good segment on this. I think you should go watch it. Or you know, just encourage people to come subscribe to our page.
Or if you know someone who wants to be on the show, let us know.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think I'm good for tonight, man. I think that was a successful stream.
I think we did a bang up job.
Yeah. So thanks so much for watching, guys. We'll see you guys next week at again 4 p.m. PST, and 7 p.m. EST. So we'll see you guys next time.
Goodbye, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen.
Bye, guys.
See you guys.